Right, let's take you now to the breaking news story of this evening, where members of the Executive Council of the 7th Administration in Gauteng have finally been sworn in. We take you to our reporter who's live from there, Mbalenhle Mthethwa. Very good evening to you. We know, Mbali, that these members have finally been sworn in, and the composition is one that excludes the Democratic Alliance after several squabbles, of course, over positions. What is the reaction there as we take stock of the new executive?
Well, what I can tell you right now, as you can see, it's a hive of activity just outside the room where all the MECs have been sworn in for the 7th administration. And it seems as though there have been some changes, and it seems some positions have also been reconfigured. One of the biggest changes that we have noted so far is the removal of the safety portfolio, and that portfolio being moved to the office of the Premier. Now, we know that the Premier has really reiterated and said on many occasions, or stressed the importance of community safety and the safety of residents, as well as the fight against crime. Moving that portfolio to his office is quite a move, really, and it's different from what we have seen in the past. Now, this is an office or a portfolio that has in the past been occupied by MEC Faith Mazibuko. We're also seeing some of the positions also being unbundled, and some MECs being given more responsibilities. Now, you will remember that the portfolio of COCTA and electronic government, or eGov, was held by none other than Mzi Khumalo, who did not make it back, or did not make a return. But we saw the position or the portfolio of eGov going to the IFP's Bonkosi Dlamini, as well as the portfolio of COCTA as a standalone portfolio going to an ANC candidate, Jacob Mamabulu, who is the former finance MEC. The finance MEC now in the 7th administration will be MEC Lebogang Maile, and those are the changes that we're seeing. And we're also seeing other parties also taking up positions in this administration. We saw the Patriotic Alliance, as well as Rise Mzansi and the IFP. Rise Mzansi taking on the position of MEC. I'm just going to look at my list here, but we know that the environment portfolio has been taken on by Shyla Peters of the Patriotic Alliance, as well as Rise Mzansi's Vuyiswa Ramu, who is now the MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development. Those are the changes, and I'm joined by someone who is really well versed in the administration of the province. Really was once the spokesperson of the Premier, but has since moved into an administrative role in the office of the Premier. We get a sense from him first as to what had to happen and why it is that we're seeing the unbundling, and we're also seeing the portfolio for education, which is held by MEC Matume Chilwane. He returns as MEC for education. However, that portfolio has additional responsibilities, and these responsibilities include sports, arts, and culture. But anyway, let me speak to Uvuyo Maka. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. Now we're seeing a number of changes here, unbundling, a bit of unbundling here, and so on. I mean, I'm not sure if you were part of those conversations politically, but you are responsible for the administration of the office of the Premier. Talk to us about how you came to this conclusion.
Well, you'll understand it's a build-up from the 6th administration. You'll know the passion of the Premier insofar as the crime around Gauteng. We have invested a lot in that particular department, and logically now he really wants to oversee that particular portfolio. That's why you'll then have seen to be in that particular space. And you'll understand the issue around the sports and the education, the school sports that the Premier has been speaking about for the longest of time. Now to have that portfolio together with education being rationalized under one MEC, it will actually assist us to really fast track the issue of education. So really that is really the issue. If you go to the issue of the environment, for example, it's one of going to be the biggest things that is there in terms of the climate change and all the other things that needs to be done. So you needed to make sure that that position is actually a standalone so that there's actually parallel execution. So it's really about rationalizing and actually including everyone in terms of our partners in the GNU that the Premier was speaking about.
Okay. Thank you so much for taking the time to just explain the thinking behind all of that. I am now joined by, she just went to ENCA. She was smiling at me not so long ago, but it looks like she chose another media house. You are back today. As Education MEC and with a few more responsibilities. Tell me, are you up to task for the new responsibilities that have now been added to your portfolio?
Yes, definitely. I am up to tasks. Actually, it's an opportunity for us to resolve what I've always lamented as a distinction of development, that you have schools that is separate from sports, arts, recreation, arts and culture. So with them combined, it makes it easier to develop the future sports stars.
So what you're in fact saying is reiterating what Vuyo Maka has said about, ensuring that the responsibilities of education go hand in hand with, early development in terms of sports and development. What about arts and culture? What are we going to see happening there?
No, definitely. There's going to be a greater focus. As you know, that we've come from a difficult period of COVID, where mostly of our extramural activities were cut. Now we resuscitate them slowly. So this is an opportunity to accelerate that particular aspect of development in our schools, in our communities, and that's what we intend to do with this opportunity.
No, certainly. Thank you so much. There we have it. Continue getting reaction from a number of people. I have Kenny Kunene lined up from the Patriotic Alliance, who's going to give us a political reaction as to how it is they came to form part of the government of provincial unity. Well, ma'am, you have been the MEC for community safety for the longest of times. How do you feel? It feels almost as though the Premier has just stolen your baby from you.
No, in fact, now I'll be able to sleep at night. Gone are the days zokuhlala kuma WhatsApp ukade ubugebengu ukade negebengu. Now I'll also be able to sleep like all other citizens of Gauteng. Indeed, it's not the first time I also serve in the Department of Social Development. I have been an MEC before, but what is exciting is that at least for now we'll be able to ensure that our people are taken care of. As you know, it is a department that is a caring department. It is a department that has to ensure that children's rights are respected. The elderly are also respected, and over and above, we take care of those that actually go to school on an empty stomach, and ensuring that no child actually even goes to school without uniform. So I'm definitely sure we'll be able to take care of that and ensure that all the Gauteng residents are taken care of.
Now, certainly there have been challenges in that department, with some NGOs taking the province to court, accusing the province of denying them funding and so on. Are you up to task to at least prepare? Are you prepared to deal with that? Are things going to change under your leadership?
I'm sure we'll be able to find a middle ground and be able to resolve some of those challenges. As you know, NGOs are also a sector that works hand in glove with government in ensuring that it delivers services to our people. So I'm definitely sure we'll be able to assist one another and be able to deliver to our people.
No problem. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. There you have it. So, MEC for Health, you are back. I'm good. How are you? So today we are not talking about power cuts at hospitals and bills not being paid. but today we are talking about your re-election. How do you feel?
I'm a bit excited about my re-election because I'm going to continue where I've left off. I think you've seen a lot of improvements that I've done in the hospitals and in the clinics in the province. Hence, I'm happy that Premier believed in me that I should go back and finish the work that I've started.
Thank you so much for your time. Now, Kenny, the reason I have brought you here is because I would like to get a political reaction from you. I mean, initially, it's unclear if you formed part of the government of provincial unity, but today we're seeing a candidate from the Patriotic Alliance, Shaila Peters, emerging as an MEC. Do you want to move to the province and leave your position in the city of Johannesburg? But talk to us about how this came about, this arrangement and this agreement. How did this come about?
The ANC, obviously, in the province invited us, and the party tasked me to lead the negotiations, which went very, very well. We are grateful that the negotiations paid off. We've made it clear from the beginning that we are going to work with the ANC in Gauteng. We have got 2 seats, and we are grateful that the Premier has believed in Patriotic Alliance leadership, that we can start a department afresh, which means there's nothing. The MEC is going to start afresh, human resources, human capital, and so on. So we are very grateful, and we know that she's got what it takes to deliver.
Now, with regards to speaking to everyone and the ANC government speaking to everyone, and was it easy becoming a part of the government of provincial unity, given that there have been some back and forths between other parties? How did the negotiations go? Were they smooth, or because you already have an existing relationship, did that have an effect in terms of how this relationship plays out? And are you confident that you'll be able to stay in this relationship for the period of 5 years?
Yes, look, the negotiations from our side have been smooth. The only problem with the negotiations has been the Democratic Alliance, which held the country at ransom, which put the government of Gauteng on autopilot. But from where we are sitting, this government is going to finish its 5 years. This government is going to be stable. It is built on mutual understanding, on respect. And I'm happy that the DA has finally decided to walk away. But if they are principled, remember the DA has been speaking about the Premier and the Speaker, but the DA never spoke about the Deputy Speaker, which they deployed. So if the DA is so principled, they can help us all and recall their Deputy Speaker so that they are out of this GPU totally. They must not stay in the back door with the Deputy Speaker, because they've deployed that Deputy Speaker and they don't want to be part of this GPU. So even the Deputy Speaker, magahambe. The Deputy Speaker, magahambe.
We hear you, Kenny. Thank you for your time. There you have it. Now, you will remember that on the first day of the legislature sitting in Johannesburg, we saw the election of the Speaker as well as the election of the Deputy Speaker, which is a DA candidate. Now, after the ANC and the Democratic Alliance seemed to fail to find, common ground and reach a deal on a government of provincial unity, it would seem the Democratic Alliance has opted out of this deal that it had in the past with the ANC. You will remember in the first sitting that the election process saw the nomination coming from the ANC bench and the secondment of the Premier Panyaza Lesufi coming from the benches, the DA benches, which was an indication of a good working relationship at the time. But since then, we've seen numerous media briefings, including from yesterday from the Democratic Alliance and another today at Luthuli House from the ANC, speaking of the difficulties that have existed with regards to reaching some form of consensus between the Democratic Alliance as well as the ANC. However, the DA candidate still remains in the position of Deputy Speaker. Speaker at the legislature after being voted in the position on the first sitting of the legislature in the 7th administration for the purposes of voting in a speaker, a premier and a deputy speaker. Now what we've heard from the Patriotic Alliance is a call for the Democratic Alliance to recall the deputy speaker if they are indeed removing themselves and will no longer be a part of the government of provincial unity and will join the opposition benches. Now that's something that remains to be seen, and we will wait and see if the deputy speaker will remain a DA candidate or if another individual will take on that position, if that individual will come from the ANC or other parties which have now seemingly joined the government of provincial unity, those being the IFP, Rise Mzansi and the Patriotic Alliance. For now, it is back to you in studio.
Absolutely, Mbalenhle Mthethwa there, just giving us a breakdown of the reaction and of course the elephant in the room, the position of Deputy Speaker. What happens next as the DA has opted to not be part of the government of provincial unity in Gauteng?